जय श्री भगवान की जय।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
Yes, you arrange that. Keep it there.
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Deum Stupado Pram Prabhupada to the Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Deum Stupado Pram Prabhupada भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधाकृष्ण गोप गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधाकुंड गिरि गोवर्धन धाम की, ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगा माई की, जमुना माई की, भक्ति देव की, वृंददेव की, करे पवन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, बृहत मृदंगा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, ISKCON मानसेश्वर धाम की, नित्य गौर परमानंद, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Jaya Narasimha श्री विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की लीला प्रभुपाद की ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
If you can chair, you can back for a chair. Yeah, I always do. Okay, thank you. I'm going to the chair.
There's chairs in the next room.
This one? Wheelchair? Maybe I can. Sorry to make it work.
Nice devotees here in Manchester. Hare Krishna. Nice temple. And there's a couple of quick little realizations I had. I came over from Boston a few days ago, and one realization was, when I was coming here, I had all my arrangements made, knew where I was going to stay, and everything was in order. Had plenty of money, my phone for everything, and you can imagine Prabhupada going to the United States in 1965. He didn't know. He knew he was going to New York and then to Butler, Pennsylvania, whatever Butler, Pennsylvania is. And he didn't know. He didn't have any money. He only had one contact in the United States. He was 70 years old. I'm 73 years old now. And of course, he's with Krishna, which is different from me. I'm with Krishna too, but not in the same way that Prabhupada was. But and he said, when he was in New York, he said, where I went through many different dangerous situations, but everywhere I thought, this is my home. And of course, for me, it's I come to England. To me, it's a strange place. I'm glad people speak English here. But anyways, you can just imagine. I mean, like all the young Indian people, they come to Boston and they come over to go to college here. Several of them live in our temple in Boston. I live in a Boston temple, and they're away from home. And it's just, to them, it's a strange place. Maybe it's an exciting place if you're young and you're adventurous. So maybe, but still, they're away from their family, away from home, away from everything they're familiar with. It's very difficult. I can imagine that I wouldn't have been able to do it when I was their age. I went to college 100 miles away from where I lived, and I came home every weekend, and I was homesick. I couldn't have gone to another country. But they're all very nice young men and women, young ladies. They come, a lot of young Indian, all kinds of people come to Boston for school, and I'm sure London too. But anyways, it's but they knew. Everybody knows where they're going. They have money, they have contacts. But for Prabhupada, he had nothing, but he had Krishna. And my other little realization coming here was, you fly thousands of miles away, and of course mostly it's ocean. But when you're flying in a plane or traveling in a bus or car, you're passing thousands and thousands of millions, or flying over millions of homes, and you're coming to one specific place in London and then Manchester, because there's going to be devotees there. And that practically nobody else in the millions of houses and places you're flying over or driving by, nobody there cares about Krishna. They don't care about surrendering to Krishna or chanting Hare Krishna. They don't know, they don't care, or they might be actively against the idea. So you come to one particular place, and here everybody is, I don't know you, but except for Ravi and Alka, Katie, and my friends. But can you imagine being in? I was thinking, can you imagine being in Krishna Loka, where everyone you meet is a pure devotee of Krishna? You can go up to, like, here I come, and everyone here in this temple, I have so much in common with. Immediately, just because we're all serving Krishna together, immediately, without knowing anybody here, I could get to know everyone here very easily, very quickly, in a very, very friendly way, and imagine being in Goloka Vrindavan, where anywhere you go, everyone you meet is a pure devotee of Krishna, and you're a pure devotee of Krishna, and Krishna's there, and Radharani's there, and you're immediately accepted and welcomed and loved by everyone that you meet. Anyway, just a little thing I was thinking about. But we're in the Association of Devotees, of course, in this world. There's only a few, relatively few number of people who are actively trying to surrender to Krishna. It's a very small part of the population still, although it's growing and growing more and more, and it will continue to grow more and more because it's the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. And he came specifically already. He said, my name will be heard and chanted in every town and village. And the 60 years ago that wasn't true, but 60 years later, it is true. Every town and village in the whole world, everyone has heard the Hare Krishna mantra. There are Prabhupada's books and devotees in so many places, and a couple of devotees from Boston went to, they had an inspiration to go for Prabhupada's centennial in 1996, I think it was. They went to, a couple of devotees went to Antarctica to establish, they didn't stay there, they just visited and planted an ISKCON flag and claimed Antarctica for ISKCON too. So Krishna's name, it's true, it's happening right now, it's already happened. Krishna's name is heard and chanted in every town and village all over the world. And it's a miracle. Everything that Prabhupada did, establish, leaving India and coming to the United States and then all over the world, it's only a miracle. Nothing, I'd always tell people in Boston or when I'm giving a talk at like the Sunday feast, everybody there might be one or two people there that were born before and grew up before 1965. And I tell them, before, so their whole life, they've ISKCON, Bhagavad Gita, chanting Hare Krishna, Prabhupada's books have been available, easily available, wherever they go. You can go anywhere and go to the temple and have prasadam. I said, but before Prabhupada came here, only 60 years ago, I was born in 1952, so I was 18 years old when I met the devotees and Prabhupada. So in 1965, I was 13 years old. So I was aware of the world, and Krishna consciousness didn't exist anywhere in the world outside of India before that. And it's an important thing to know that this ISKCON movement is not, we take it for granted now, but it just didn't exist anywhere, and definitely not in the United States. And probably, of course there were Indian families living here and there, and they knew Krishna consciousness wherever they were in the world, but there was no ISKCON temple, there was no Bhagavad Gita as it is, there was no Harinam Sankirtan party, no Christmas marathon to distribute Bhagavad Gita. It's good to think about these things sometimes, because we're living in a very, the most fortunate, special time in the history of the world, at least for the last several thousand years. And of course, before that, different yugas, Krishna consciousness was known, but at least for the last few thousand years, the only place where Krishna Bhakti was available was in India. And now it's all over the world. And it's a miracle, the fact that this temple is here and that all the sincere devotees are here. And the purpose of everyone being here today, there's only one purpose. And the purpose is to come and chant Hare Krishna and surrender to Krishna with faith and devotion. That's a miracle. That's not an ordinary thing. Even for India, it's not an ordinary thing. But definitely for the rest of the world, it's not an ordinary thing. All the devotees are very special, great souls. All the devotees are the rarest of rare individuals. Out of many thousands of men, hardly one endeavors for perfection. And out of those who are seeking perfection, hardly one knows Krishna in truth. So everyone here knows Krishna in truth. In the sense, we're not so developed yet, we know Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead, lover of Srimati Radharani. We know Krishna's appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so we know Krishna in truth. We have then the example of a devotee is one example of the analogy that Prabhupada used, which is I repeat a lot, is of the ripe mango and the unripe mangoes. So we're all like unripe mangoes, but we're mangoes, and we're getting ripe. And every second of every day, the devotee is getting riper and riper and riper. We're becoming purified more and more, and we'll become pure devotees and go back home, back to Godhead very, very soon, very soon. Even within this life, or when we leave this body, definitely we can go back home, back to Godhead. I was with my mother a few years ago when she was leaving her body. She was 96, and she was tired. She didn't even want to stay in that body anymore. She was just tired. And it was a very nice lady. You wouldn't call her a devotee, but she had been known Krishna consciousness through me for 50 years, and anytime you may think my mother and father, they're not devotees, but every time they think of their kids, English kid or whatever, American kid or Russian kid, every time they think of their son or daughter, even if they don't like Krishna consciousness, every time they think of them, they'll say, oh yes, little Johnny or little Susie, they're Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So they're throughout their life, they're thinking of Krishna. Not in the most favorable way sometimes, but they're thinking of Krishna's name, so they'll certainly become devotees. I heard one morning walk with Prabhupada, and some of his disciples, and one disciple asked Prabhupada, what does it mean in the Srimad Bhagavatam when it says that there are different places like this? What does it mean when they say that so many generations of a devotee's family, backwards and forwards, will become liberated? What kind of liberation is that? Is it impersonal liberation? What kind of liberation is it? And Prabhupada just said very simply, he said, it means they'll be devotees. Anyway, these are just some little things, but very important, instructive. So anyway, this talk is supposed to be the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, and so I just picked out just a couple of verses that are well known to all of us. Let's see. I'll just read this one first. Everyone knows. Machchitam akata prana parayantak parastaram katayantastamam nityam tashanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. And so the devotees, we have one topic of interest, one topic of conversation, one topic of one interest in our life. Of course, we have other things that you have to do, take care of the family. Most devotees these days, early in ISKCON, almost all the devotees lived in the temple, and hardly anybody had an outside job. And I remember when I lived in the Boston temple, and There were like 60 devotees living there, and nobody had a job. Nobody was in college. Everybody, that time, a lot of the preaching very often was, if you were in college, the devotees would tell you, well, you should just quit college and move in the temple. And a lot of people did it. And Giriraj Swami did it, Niranjana Swami did it. I think he had already left college. I did it. And and that was like a normal thing, the way to preach, and a normal thing to do. Not everyone did it, but pretty much all the devotees who lived in the temple, they did. And at least in Boston, at the time when I moved in, and that was in 1976. I started coming in 1970, moved finally, got up the determination and the surrender to move in the temple 5 years later. So, and there was a lot of young men, boys and girls there, and nobody was in college, nobody had a job. And I remember the head pujari one day, he came down like at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning during the morning program, and he had a suit and tie on, and everybody was, why are you dressed like that? He was married, and he had I don't think he had any kids yet, but he was married, and his wife lived in the temple. And he said, oh, I got a job. And we were like, what? So, of course, times have changed. There are still many great brahmacharis and brahmacharinis who live in the temple and don't care about having a job or going to school or anything. They're just living in the temple. And like that. But anyways, the point was that no matter what else you have to do, you have a job, you have a family, you have a car, you have a house, you have all kinds of stuff, and so you have to show some interest in you have to show some interest in other things. But all the devotees know that ultimately the only thing that's important is Krishna. And I was talking about my mother who left her body when she was 96. She had worked all her life and taken care of kids and grandkids and done so many things. And at the end, I was with her for like 3 days before she left her body, and I was playing Prabhupada bhajans to her for like, not continuously, but frequently for the last 3 days before she left her body. And at the moment, the exact time when she was leaving her body, we knew it was within a few minutes. And so I had a bhajan of Prabhupada playing, singing Vibha Varishesha right by her ear at the moment she was leaving her body. So there's she didn't try for it, she didn't ask for it, but at the moment that she left her body, she was listening to Prabhupada sing about Vrindavan, and Prabhupada's voice is coming directly, it comes directly from Goloka Vrindavan. Prabhupada's voice is not a sound of the material world. His voice is coming directly from Goloka Vrindavan. So maybe, I don't know where she took her next birth, but she might have woken up in Vrindavan. I don't know. She was listening to pure devotees sing about Vrindavan. Anyway, wherever she took her next birth is a glorious birth. And at the end of your life, you can't think about, when you know that you're leaving your body, if you're attached to, everyone is a little attached, but most people are very attached to the material situation because they're not devotees, they're not Krishna conscious. Everyone is a devotee at heart. No one is, we use the term devotee and non-devotee, but ultimately there's no such thing as a non-devotee. Everyone is a pure spirit soul, eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone has natural love for Krishna in their heart. It's very much covered over, and everyone has forgotten it. But it hasn't gone away. They haven't changed into something else or become something other than a pure spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So, but they're attached and they're in the material consciousness, so they'll think of other things at the time of death. But definitely for any committed devotee who's been practicing Krishna consciousness, they'll know that there's nothing, they may still be attached, in particular to family members, and but they'll know, every devotee will know that now is the time when I'm leaving my body, and I have, at least now, or leading up till now and including now, but definitely now, I got to really be Krishna conscious. I really got to think of Krishna now, and but for everybody, no matter what you're attached to, there's nothing left. Especially if you're like 96 and you're tired and you're like, I don't care about my car anymore. I don't care about my house anymore. I don't care about what I can't play the piano anymore. I can't high jump anymore or play cricket anymore. I can't do, and there's nothing left except my consciousness. And that's for everybody, but definitely for the devotees. We're all like that. The devotees are very Krishna conscious at the time of their leaving their bodies. Anyways, I read this verse. The verse was about the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So we're not the 6 Goswamis who did nothing all day long but meet together and talk about Radharani and Krishna and write books about Krishna and chant Hare Krishna all day, every day. We're not like that, who didn't care about anything else, and were definitely deriving great satisfaction and bliss by enlightening each other and conversing about Krishna. We're not on that platform, but we do. Otherwise, why are we here? We're here because we like to be here. We're here because we want to be with the devotees, to hear and chant about Krishna. We're here because we want to see the arati and be with all the devotees chanting. We want to hear the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So we also delight in hearing and chanting about Krishna, not on the topmost platform, but according to our own realization. All the devotees are very attached to Krishna. So we also do that. We also take great pleasure in enlightening each other and conversing about Krishna. And let's see. So the next verse is Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Pritipurakam Dadami Buddhiyogam Tam Yenamam Upayanti Te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And I'll read something Prabhupada's purport. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Now, Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. So then, let's see. Okay, so there's a couple things about this. Now, Buddhi Yoga, Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga, of course, means to link with Krishna. Our English word yoke for oxen or for horses is a direct descendant of the word yoga. Yoga means to link with God, and the word yoke means to link two animals together. So Buddhi, the yoga or linking with Krishna, is Buddhi, through intelligence, and Buddhi yoga means to use all our senses, our mind, intelligence in the service of Krishna, and action. Yeah, Buddhi yoga is action. Yoga itself is, Buddhi yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Everyone is active. Why is everyone? Everyone is so active. As soon as you wake up, and of course at night, your mind is active too. You're active in your subtle body. But as soon as you wake up in the morning, immediately you might be like, I wish I could go back to sleep. But you can't. You have to get up. And as soon as you get up, you start thinking, oh, okay, what do I have to do? So you start thinking, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this, gotta do that. Gotta go here, gotta go there, meet this person, everyone is so active. So why are we so active? Well, the answer, basic answer, because Krishna is active. Krishna, people don't, outside of Krishna consciousness, most religions, most religious people, they don't have so much of a concept of God, of being active, of having desire. God, what does God desire? But Krishna is full of desire. Krishna, why does he create all of us? Why do we all exist? Why does Krishna have all his pure devotees in Goloka, Vrindavan, and all the Vaikuntha planets, and everywhere? Why so much activity? Why is everything being done? Because Krishna is active. Because Krishna is full of unlimited, infinite desire. And the desire is to exchange love with his parts and parcels. That's why we exist. And Prabhupada explains that in various places. It's like a father and mother, they have children because they want to interact in pure, loving relationships with their children. So they create, in quotes, they don't create, but they they create the bodies, they're the source of the bodies. So they create their children, and in order to have satisfaction, in order to be happy, in order to have loving relationships. And that's why Krishna has us. And that's why Krishna has Srimati Radharani and all the gopis and Mother Yashoda and all the cowherd boys and the cows and everyone in Goloka Vrindavan, because Krishna is full of infinite desire for loving relationships, loving exchanges. And so he's active. Krishna likes to go out and play every day with his cowherd boyfriend. He likes to joke with the gopis and have the rasa dance. He likes to be his exchange with Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Is one picture you might know that Prabhupada liked a lot. And there was one painting of Krishna as a very small, very young boy. He could walk. He's walking and he's carrying his Nanda Maharaj's sandals on his head to bring to him. You know that painting? Yeah. And it's a really nice painting, and Prabhupada really liked it. It shows how Krishna is serving his father. And so Krishna likes to exchange with his father and mother. He is a little boy, naughty boy, but a little boy, and exchanging loving service. He serves his parents, and of course his parents are serving him all the time. So Krishna, we're active, and we are full of desire, because Krishna is active and full of desire and for loving relationships. And and that's and those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love. Of course, this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna talks about the love of his devotees to those who are constantly devoted. That's the next verse. No, that's this verse. I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So with love, you want to get to know Krishna. We know Krishna. The memory of Krishna is there. It just has to be reawakened. But the only way to get to know Krishna, or remember our love for Krishna, is by serving Krishna with as much devotion and love as we can muster up. Not so much right now, but it's increasing. And an obvious point to me, a very important point to me, is that I always talk about. Think about you want to know God. People say, "Oh, you want to know God." The only way to know anybody is by showing them love and devotion. You can't get to know anybody. You're a child, you're a friend. You can't make a friend. Certainly in the family, people you meet at work, or a cat, or a dog, or a horse. You can't get to know anybody unless you show them some love and devotion. Otherwise, nobody. You might get to know somebody officially, like at work. You have people that you know and you're kind of friends with, but you don't really know them very well. And so many people, and then they have closer and closer relationships, ultimately with husband, wife, children, very, very close friends. But you can't. The only way to get to know anybody is by showing them some love and devotion. Otherwise, nobody will. You can say, I'd like to get to know you. I want to be your friend. I want to be your boyfriend. I want to be your girlfriend. I want to be your husband. I want to be your wife. I want to get to know you closely. And so the other person may think, okay, well, you seem like a nice guy or a nice girl. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting to know you. But it's not that that anybody reveals themselves to you immediately. They'll tell you their name and where they live. And if you want to, if they don't reveal their inner thoughts and their inner personality, their inner desires, their deepest wishes to you, their personality to you, unless they test you. They say, okay, you want to get to know me? Okay, let's hang out or let's whatever, and we'll get to know each other. But each person is testing the other person to see how they respond to in different situations. And then as you feel more and more that you can trust the person, that they're actually interested in you sincerely, and you like them, then gradually, then you reveal yourself to them. And so that we want to know Krishna, we say we want to know Krishna. So the only way to get to know Krishna closely, or remember our close relationship with Krishna, is by showing him our devotion and our love. And I want you, Krishna, to take me seriously as your devotee. And Krishna is very willing to take us seriously as his devotee. That's what he wants. But he wants to be sure that we're sincere, that we really mean it. So in the Nectar of Devotion, one of the qualities of pure devotional service is it's very rarely achieved. And why it's very rarely achieved, because when Krishna can say, you want to be rich? Okay, you be rich. No problem. You want to be president? Okay, be a president. You want to be a famous artist or a musician? No problem. You can have that. You want to be a Brahman realization? That's no big deal. You can have Brahman realization. You want to know me? You want to be intimately associated with me? It's not a problem, but that's what I want. That's what Krishna wants too. But he can't just throw it away, because when Krishna gives pure devotional service, he gives himself to the devotee. And that's not a small thing. Everyone here knows that. Nobody gives themselves to anyone intimately unless they trust them. The same principle. And so Krishna is exactly like that. Krishna wants to be sure. That's why we talk about testing in Krishna consciousness. Maya is testing me, or Krishna is testing me. The test that we have to pass is to show that we're sincere, that we're determined. And Prabhupada writes here in the purport that one should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. It's a process, but it's a sure process. In the material world, there's a process for everything. You want to be some kind of scientist or musician or famous or a big athlete. There's a whole process of years and years of training and discipline and study. And suppose your goal is to win a gold medal at the Olympics. Well, you have to be determined and practice hard for years, many years, and then you'll get to the Olympics. Probably you won't. Most people don't. Very few athletes will get to the Olympics. And then, will you win the gold medal? Probably not. And only one person wins it. And there's only one person who is completely successful. And the same in any discipline, in any education, or anything in life, in the material world. There's only a very small number of people who achieve the ultimate goal. Most people drop out along the way, or for one reason or another, they cannot achieve the ultimate goal. But in Krishna consciousness, everyone is qualified to achieve the ultimate goal of pure love of God. Because we're all pure spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone can achieve the pure goal of pure love of God. Krishna Prabhupada says here that when the goal is assigned, the goal is pure devotional service to Krishna. When the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. So Prabhupada doesn't use his words lightly. He doesn't say these things lightly. And so everyone here is qualified. Everyone here is so, in lectures, I used to talk about, I give more emphasis to the difficulties and the struggling, the miseries of the material life, and that's an important thing to do. Prabhupada did it regularly. He regularly spoke about the threefold miseries of material existence, regularly spoke about birth, death, disease, and old age. So that kind of talk, it should always be there. But in the last few years, I've come to the point of giving much more stress to the hopefulness and the progressiveness and the achieving the ultimate goal of pure devotional service to Krishna and going back home, back to Godhead. We're so used to living in this difficult material world that we're just accustomed to it. Birth, death, disease, and old age, well, whatever. The threefold sufferings of material nature, whatever. That's life. Take the good with the bad. And we're just so used to it. But there's spiritual world, but we don't belong here. This isn't even our where we belong. If a prisoner doesn't belong in prison. He should be a free citizen, living in a much more free way in the outside world. But he's in prison now, and he gets used to it. And sometimes when people get used to being in prison, they don't even want to leave. Sometimes people have been in prison for a long time, they commit another crime, they get out, they commit another crime to go back to prison. They've been there for 10 or 20 or 30 years, and that's all they know. So anyways, we've been here in the material world for so long, we're so accustomed to it, it's called institutionalized here, but we don't belong here. This isn't our place. We belong with Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, and that's our natural home. And we can go there. The ultimate goal is achieved. So just one more quick point. Should I stop now for questions or comments? Just like a couple more minutes. But I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And the next verse is to show them special mercy. I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So we were born in this life. I mean, there are many Indians here, and maybe some of you grew up in a Vaishnava family. But anyway, birth in India is a very special birth. naturally inclined to worship God just by taking birth in India. And one purport, Prabhupada says that birth in India is the highest birth in the universe. That's pretty good. And a natural tendency to worship God. I wasn't born in India. I was born in Philadelphia, and I didn't have a natural tendency to worship God. And my parents definitely didn't have a natural tendency to worship God. But somehow or other, by the grace of Krishna, I met the devotees, and I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So immediately, Prabhupada always gives the example of you go into a room that's dark and you can't see anything, but as soon as you flip on the switch, you can see everything because there's light. And so the devotees we're all in that position. We're not in the darkness of illusion anymore. We're just not. We're not the same people. We're the same people, but we're not in the same mentality that I know for myself that I was before I met the devotees. Everything is completely different. The way I look at everything, the way I think about everything is completely different. So Krishna destroys with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, you're like in the mind of Krishna. You're reading Krishna's words, you're in Krishna's mind, you're hearing exactly what God is thinking. You're immediately connected with the ultimate knowledge of who you are, who Krishna is. If you study some science or something else, you're in the mind of the great scientists or in their consciousness. But when we read Bhagavad Gita as it is, we're literally in hearing and in Krishna's thoughts. You're hearing Krishna's thoughts and what he wants to say to us. So we must, the devotees are the most intelligent people in the world. Doesn't matter if you have any education or whatever education you have. The newest, youngest devotee is directly connected with Krishna's intelligence. So the devotees are described in the Shastra as being the most intelligent people. And not that we're just striving for intelligence, but we automatically become the most intelligent, the most learned people, scholars in the world. Like in Boston, we have like programs at MIT and in Harvard and some other the big colleges in the United States anyway. And the Prabhupada went to MIT and did a program there when he visited Boston in 1968, and devotees arranged a program for it, and so Prabhupada spoke. And he said, MIT is like, if you go to MIT, you're smart. You definitely got to be smart to go, intelligent to go there. And they're in-depth studies of all different areas of technology. And it's like a prestigious thing to go to MIT or Harvard in the United States. But Prabhupada said, I'm in this Massachusetts Institute of Technology, big famous school, but he said, where's the department in MIT to study the difference between a living body and a dead body? It's not there. they don't have it. To this day, they don't have it. Even though the devotees have had a presence there for many years, and so you may think, oh, that's the scholarly people at MIT might say, oh, this person is a very simplistic person talking. We have so many in-depth studies here. This is a very simple person. What's the difference between a living and dead body? And but it's a pretty important question, and they don't have it, and they don't think about it. They don't know it. I know there's one devotee, and this will be the last thing for sure. I'll do it very quick. But there's one devotee who lived in Boston. His name is Garuda, and he's sort of well known in ISKCON now as a scholar. He's a professor at a college in Washington, D.C. He visited Boston just recently for some conferences and things that we had. And he was living in the Boston Temple in the early 80s, and he was going to Harvard Divinity School for his PhD, because he wanted, preach and educated people, the Bhaktivedanta Institute, and he's a very extremely intelligent, scholarly person. So he's going, and he told us in the Harvard Divinity School, there's one PhD program that is made up of like 5 or 6 Western scholars, and the topic of their PhD dissertation is the writings of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Pretty specialized thing. And he said, but them and all the professors and people in the Harvard Divinity School, mostly they after class, their activities are no different from any of the other Harvard people. They're all going up to the bars and drinking and chasing women or chasing men, and the same activities as everyone else. It wasn't a bunch of Indians. It was Western American scholars, and they're smart, they're intelligent, and I'm sure over the course of time, the study of the writings of the 6 Goswamis must have had some effect on them. But basically, they were studying their writings just as a scholarly thing. Somehow they became interested. I don't know how, but and they had to write their PhD thesis on that and everything. But anyway, Krishna consciousness is the highest knowledge. It is directly connected with Krishna's intelligence, and Krishna destroys in your heart with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. I better stop. Anybody have any questions, comments for a few minutes?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Oh, she had her hand up first. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So you mentioned about these 4 verses in Bhagavad Gita, but and you mentioned how you were attracted as a teenager to met Prabhupada. So just I was curious to know what made you to attracted to Srila Prabhupada and how you are still loving him 50 years after his departure.
I graduated high school in 1970, and that summer, a few weeks later, I went to a movie in Boston with a girlfriend, and it was a beautiful, nice summer night in the sun, and a Saturday night. Everybody's out for fun, and we came out of the movie and we heard the mridanga and the kartals. And we said, hey, let's go see what that noise is. And we went across the street, and there was a big kirtan there. like 30 or 40 devotees, and everybody young, and everybody shaved up, shiny heads, and the women in saris, and they're running in circles and jumping up and down, and everybody was young. and I like, what is this? As we said at the time, it blew my mind. And that was a thing from the 60s, mind blowing. And anyway, I stayed and I said, I don't know what this is, but it must be something about God. And I don't know, it looks kind of Indian, but all the people are American. And anyway, then I went up to college a month or two later, and I met the devotees, came up there and did a program, and then long story short, I went to the library one day and I got some spiritual books from India, the Upanishads, and one of the books I got was the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and I sat in the student union all day, and I read the Bhagavad Gita as it is all day long, and then I knew, I could understand that this is the truth, this is what I have to follow, this is what I have to do, and so if I want to do this, I have to be like those people that I saw on the street and doing the kirtan. I have to be like those people who came up and did the program. I knew this is what I have to do. And so it took me, so I was a regular guest going back and forth, still trying to get sense gratification, but knowing that sense gratification is not good. And I would always go back to the temple, and so that went on for 5 years. And I suffered a lot in the course of time because I was doing things I knew weren't right. But finally I moved in the temple. And anyway, the basic thing is that I met Prabhupada through his disciples and through the Bhagavad Gita and through going to the temple. I didn't meet Prabhupada personally. I saw him give lectures 4 or 5 times in the temple room after I moved in the temple, but I knew him through his books, through his audio lectures, and through his disciples, and through going to the temple. And so, and there was never a question in my mind that I know I'm not doing everything very good. Ultimately, I did become good, but even when I knew I wasn't good, I knew it wasn't good, and I knew that I have to be a devotee. I know I have to. That's what I have to do with my life. Well, that's a brief answer.
There's one more question. Yes, Chris Prabhu.
Hi, Krishna. I was going to ask a question, but it's changed and I've listened to that answer. I was going to just ask, why does Krishna say after many births in the material world that we become devoted to Krishna?
Well, I mean, we have had many millions of births and deaths in the material world already. We've been born and died in all species of life. I mean, a jnani, many births, a person who's actually in knowledge surrenders to me. Yeah, because we're resistant. Because the basic answer is the same answer, the same reason we come to the material world in the first place. We didn't want to surrender to Krishna anymore. We wanted to be independent and not have to serve Krishna. So that's the mentality that brought us to the material world. And that's the only thing that prevents us, why it may take many births and deaths to finally come to the conclusion of surrendering to Krishna again, because we're still resistant. I heard Prabhupada say in a lecture just recently He said everyone, even like the Gyanis, the yogis, they're still rebelling against Krishna. So these are spiritually minded people, the Gyanis, the yogis, the impersonalists. They have an idea. I want to be a strong idea that I want to be spiritual. I don't want to just be a regular karmi, a regular materialist. I want to be spiritual, have a spiritual life. But when it comes to the point of just give up all varieties of religion, just give up everything and surrender to me, Krishna said, and I shall protect you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Just give up everything else and surrender to me. They think, oh no, that's too much. And Prabhupada said that. He said when people read the Bhagavad Gita, they may think, oh, there's so many intelligent thoughts in here. It's very interesting. And Krishna seems very good, but he's just asking too much. It's when you get married, you realize that your husband or your wife, they just want a lot, and your kids definitely want a lot, and so it's a real surrender, and you have to be ready for that. If you're going to be married, you have to really know that and be ready for it. You're ready or not, here it comes. But definitely with Krishna, you have to be ready. Krishna wants everything. And so he wants all your time, all your energy, all your thoughts, all your devotion, all your love, every second, every minute of every day, eternally. Krishna wants everything. So and I heard Prabhupada say just yesterday in a talk, he was talking about the impersonalists, and he said the impersonal, okay, they're very disciplined. They study the Vedanta Sutra, they're very austere. Prabhupada said you're not even accepted as a bona fide follower of impersonalism in the Sankaracharya school, unless you take sannyas. You can say they're very dedicated, very sincere, but they don't want to surrender to the person, Krishna. They would say, okay, I want to be spiritual, I can study, I want to be one with everything, but I don't want to surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada in this lecture I heard the other day, said he called the impersonalists, called them atheists. So they're atheists because there's an ultimate absolute. They understand that, they know that, but they don't want it. They don't want that absolute, ultimate absolute, to be a person that I have to surrender to. Anyway, that's a short answer.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Dr. Kedia.
Actually, thank you, Prabhuji. I just want to share my first experience that I had with Prabhuji. And my son was studying in Boston, and we went to Boston, and my wife came running and said that I found a temple here. I said, where it is? Where? You won't have a temple in Boston. No, there is a Hindu temple there. Okay, let's go. So I went there, and it was Kirtan time, and Prabhuji was sitting there, and there were few devotees, and they were chanting Hare Ram, Hare Krishna mantras. And the atmosphere was so serene, I just got lost. So I picked up a manjira. I never played it before in my life. And suddenly I started playing to the tune of the other people who were playing. And nobody said to me that you stop it, you are not playing well. So when I finished that, then the manjira was broken. So then I was very guilty. So I went to see Prabhuji, and Prabhuji said, oh, how do you know to play Madina? I said, I never played in my life before. This is the first time I played it. But don't worry, you played it very well. That's why it is broken. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for being here.
So,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu brought his own instrument today instead of breaking temple song. So you can see that there is a drum in front of him. So thank you, Prabhu, for bringing your own. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any further questions? Yeah. Okay. So is Grace Mukta Vandya Prabhu ki Jai. So being in the movement for such a long time and adhering to the principles of ISKCON and serving Srila Prabhupada is not easy. That is real opulence. Prabhu must have seen so many ups and downs over the course of 50 years of ISKCON movement. But you see, is still grounded in the philosophy. Very humble, down to earth. This is real opulence. Prabhu, thank you so much for giving your association enlightening us. Few years ago you were here, and we are very, very happy to see you here today. And Prabhu will be visiting us again, hopefully next Sunday, hopefully. Please, so let's express our gratitude by chanting one loud Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So dear devotees, thank you so much for being with us today. Just a couple of very, very quick and interesting announcements. Maybe we shall start with some interesting ones. In the last couple of days, we got 3 devotees received initiation, online initiation. This is a new era. So first one, on Friday, our dear Atul Prabhu had received initiation from His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj. Please can you stand up? Stand up. And he had received a new spiritual name, that Aravinda Netradas. Bolo Aravinda Netradas ki Jai. So we have 2 more devotees. This is, oh, wonderful. Technology. So now the other one, today morning, we had both Shamal Rai Prabhu and his good wife Papi Mataji, both had received initiation by His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj. Yeah. So when I say Jayapatak Maharaj, the names will be longer, so you have to bear with me. So Shamal Rai Prabhu now is known as Sham Jagat Pranadhas. And Papi Mataji is now known as Padma Jagat Dharini Devidasi. So for their spiritual benefit, for all of their spiritual benefit, please chant one loud Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So nice to see that devotees coming forward and taking formal commitment. Sometimes as a guest, you can come and go and do anything that you like. But, initiation is a formal thing. Even Krishna took initiation, Prabhupada took initiation. So you're forced to stay, even if there are some ups and downs, you are still forced to stay. So nice to see that these devotees committing to Srila Prabhupada's service. A few more announcements. Today's feast has been sponsored by Dr. Kedia's family on the occasion of their granddaughter's 9th birthday. So granddaughter lives in the States, but they are They are sponsoring the feast across the Atlantic. So for for their spiritual benefit, for the benefit of their granddaughter's spiritual benefit, please chant one loud Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If anyone is falling asleep, they will definitely awake. We need you in the class. In the class also, we should ask you to chant one loud Hare Krishna mantra. It will wake everyone up. Thank you for being so enthusiastic. Right, couple of more announcements. Next weekend, coming weekend, we have a special guest, His Holiness Bhakti Pracharak Paribrachak Swami. So he's a very well-educated, chartered accountant previously, and he had dedicated his life to the Mayapur, ISKCON Mayapur mission. He's from Mayapur basically. So he'll be spending time with us Saturday and Sunday, 27th and 28th. So 27th Saturday, we will have a program from 5 o'clock onwards in the temple. That's an evening program on Saturday from 5 p.m. And on Sunday, so we will be doing the Gita Jayanti Sanskrit recitation celebrations right from morning 10:30 onwards in the presence of Maharaj. And so Maharaj will be summarizing the chapters. So please make a note of that. This is coming Saturday and Sunday. So we need anything else? New Year? Yes, New Year definitely. Thank you, Prabhu. On 31st evening, we will have a special event from 7 p.m. in the temple. Don't go anywhere else. Everybody wants an event, so we are hosting an event. Please come here. There will be prasad, there will be kirtan, dancing, etc. in the temple. So we need a few volunteers. Thank you so much. What would you like to do today? Anything? Maybe clean the temple floor along with your mother. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm. Srila Prabhupada is smiling at you. So few devotees in the kitchen. Please, if you'd like to raise your hand, anybody? Oh, thank you. One devotee there. Okay. You? With your mom? Okay. 2 devotees, 3 devotees.
I will come just for kitchen.
Kitchen, just for kitchen. Oh, thank you. You'll be the leader for that team.
No, I'm not.
No, that Mataji. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, it is the month of Gita Jayanti and Bhagavad Gita Marathon, Christmas Marathon. So Kumar Prabhu may be across the door. So we have some Gitas displayed here. So you can do a few things. You can take some Gitas home and distribute to your colleagues near and dear. Or if you can't do that, you can also sponsor some Bhagavad Gitas so we can distribute on your behalf. So if anybody like to sponsor any Bhagavad Gitas or take some Bhagavad Gitas, please see Kumar Prabhu. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. So we'll have standing kirtan for next 30 minutes or so. Our Aravinda Netra Prabhu will be enlightening. When is yours?
Very soon, Prabhu.
Huh?
Very soon, Prabhu.
Very soon. Really?
No.
We don't know, Prabhu. I'm optimistic, Prabhu. It should happen very soon.
That, optimistic is the right word. Karuneshwari Mama. Karuneshwari, right? Because I have to remember so many new names now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, one last time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Magre Sri Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Sharma Ki Namachai Shri Das Thakur Ki Har Sakha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Koko Punar Shama Kund Radha Ki Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Chala Chala Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Gaura Premanande All girls are Samudra All girls are Samudra All girls are Samudra All girls are Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
All good to Srila Prabhupada. So Hare Krishna, one quick announcement before you go. So next Sunday we are having Gita Jayanti here in the temple from 10 o'clock onwards. And we have a very special guest here, will be here, is Holiness Bhakti Pracharak Paribratak Swami. And we will be having a special fire sacrifice. If anybody would like to be part of as a yajman host, so we are requesting 51 pound donation, and in return you will get 7 to 10 books depending on what you choose. So if you would like to participate as yajman for the yajna, please see my friend Madhav Kumar Prabhu next door. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.